Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Texas Chain Saw Massacre, the game video. Today, a new community hub post was shared by Gun Interactive that goes over some new details of the new victim, Danny, and the new family member, Nancy, who are coming out next week on November 28th. This new hub post primarily goes over the lore of these characters, but it does give a hint at both of their abilities, which is pretty interesting, and I think this is why the pay-to-win element might come into play. We'll see. Before we dive into that, I did want to confirm that Nicotero Leatherface's saw can now be used on all Leatherface skins. They took the feedback from the community and they made it happen. So that was not an accident in the trailer. They weren't toying with us. You actually will be able to take Nicotero Leatherface's saw if you purchased him and use it on every Leatherface. So that's great news. The saw is like honestly the coolest part of that Leatherface. So it's really cool that's going to be making it where you can use it on all Leatherfaces. I think that's a great change. All right, now let's dive into the lore of these new characters. Danny gains a new victim. Danny grew up severely disadvantaged, bouncing between numerous foster homes before finally landing with a proper caretaker. His rough exterior is a reflection of his upbringing, but beneath it lies an intelligent and caring person. After meeting Maria, the two connected deeply, becoming nearly inseparable. Heartbroken and devastated they didn't accompany Maria on her wildflower trip, Danny headed towards Newt, Texas immediately after her disappearance, refusing to wait for the others. His study and tamper ability, which lets him identify and examine important objects, will be crucial to not only his, but the entire group's survival. Danny is a Gemini. His hometown is Fort Worth, Texas. He is 21 and 6'1". God damn. So let's circle back. Let's talk about this ability. His study and tamper ability, which lets him identify and examine important objects, will be crucial to not only his, but the entire group's survival. So he can study and tamper items. Now, I'm curious what that actually means. You know, I know this kind of stuff is leaked and the details are out there. I've not actually read up on Danny. I'm riding this one out. I'm hearing the details as they come out and are confirmed. So you actually be able to identify and examine what it sounds like, whether it's parts or actual escape methods, whatever it is, he can actually identify, examine them, and in some way tamper them. And in what way? How does that affect the family? Who knows? But that sounds like it could be unbelievably powerful. And that's where I'm talking about the pay to win element comes into play with characters like this, and a $10 price tag per character. That if his ability is something that is crucial, which will be crucial to not only his, but the entire group's survival, right? If it's a crucial ability that comes super clutch all the time, pay to win absolutely comes into play in that way. But I'm super intrigued. I'm curious to see more on Danny, that's for sure. And just some bonus details here from creative director Ronnie Hobbs. He said, Danny's backstory was inspired by the time I spent in Fort Worth visiting the Gladney Center for Adoption. I didn't purposely set out to visit the place, but I stumbled upon the original building one day and it sparked my interest. I then did some research on the organization and incredible work they've been doing for well over 100 years, and instantly knew I wanted to use it as a basis for Danny's life. I love the idea of these two kids, Danny and Maria, who both basically came from nothing and had to overcome so much in their life, falling in love and bonding with each other. It just felt right. Danny's voice actor is the incredibly talented Michael Johnston from Teen Wolf. And you know, I was thinking during that trailer that Danny sounds familiar, and since it is Michael Johnston from Teen Wolf, that sums it up. That's pretty cool. And I think it's interesting that Danny is an orphan. He grew up an orphan, in and out of foster homes. And then you kind of combine it with the new family member, Nancy, who was willing to, kill somebody to take in a child. She's a perfect fit for Danny, apparently. All right, let's talk about Nancy, the new family member. Not much is known about Nancy other than that she's been married 3 times, with each husband dying from mysterious causes or vanishing completely. Locals refer to her as Black Nancy, alluding to the constant death and misery that surrounds her. She's an expert at using her friendly looks to lure unsuspecting victims into deadly situation. Many years ago, Johnny's mother made this innocent but fatal mistake. With Johnny's mother dead, Nancy finally had the one thing her husbands could never give her, a child of her own. So as sick and twisted as Johnny is, remember, even monsters have makers. Her heinous barbed wire traps perfectly reflect the pain and torture she's willing to inflict on anyone in her path. Nancy is Sagittarius, her hometown is unknown, and she's 5'9". I'm a little upset they don't mention the cook in here. They give us that cute little photo framed up of Nancy and Cook in the trailer. I was wondering if that means they're a couple. I just assume they're a couple. They're like prom posing over there. Could be cousins, could be siblings, who knows. But I was hoping they'd kind of touch on that in the lore, but they don't. So I'm still not sure what's going on there. Just want to know if Cook is technically, an adopted daddy to Johnny. Just curious, a little stepdaddy cook, that's what I'm gonna start calling him. But let's circle back to the important part of this. Her heinous barbed wire traps perfectly reflect the pain and torture she's willing to inflict on anyone in her path. This is actually one that I've seen footage of unintentionally, just kind of cross my timeline on Twitter of how her traps look. And yeah, she has barbed wire traps that can actually cover, you know, gaps and crawl spaces, and extremely powerful. And it actually looks like you can combine the traps with other things like padlocks. So that is a crazy good ability. Again, it's hard to say just how powerful it is, how much is it going to slow down victims, how quickly can you break it if you're a victim. But that's just another one where I circle back, like that sounds like it can be an extremely clutch thing to have, especially because the placement of it's unique. It's actually covering an entire gap, an entire crawl space. You know, you actually have to, you know, look at it, go through it. It's covering entire areas versus, you know, hitchhikers traps, so you can get around them, bomb squad. You know, it's called barbed wire traps. You know, is bomb squad going to play an effect on these types of traps? Curious. There's definitely going to have to be some sort of counter for them. So I'm just curious what it's going to be. That could be extremely powerful though. You combine, actually with no Leatherface required. Imagine a setup that's Nancy, Cook, and Hitchhiker. The map control is crazy. I mean, you have so much map control with that build. Not very deadly, right? I mean, you could have savagery builds, but it's definitely gonna take longer to kill somebody, but you probably have a lot more time to do so because you have so much map control with a build like that. Definitely curious to see how Nancy plays. And another quote here from creative director Ronnie Hobbs. He said, BAFTA winner Cissy Jones was tasked with bringing Nancy to life. She did both the motion capture and voiceover performances, using her years of expertise in character study to craft Nancy's twisted and menacing persona. Nancy's character itself is based on an amalgamation of multiple female serial killers throughout history. I took a lot of personality traits from studying those killers and crafted them into what I feel is a pretty sick and twisted individual. She's also fully responsible for turning Johnny into the monster he is, but that's an entirely different story. Now, Cissy Jones has done so much VO work across her career, an incredible actress. So the fact that she's the voice of Nancy, what an incredible fit. She's been in things like Firewatch and Starfield, The Owl House, you know, Transformers. Like, she's done so much. You've heard her voice, I'm sure. And even just going off of what we've heard so far of her, she's got an incredible performance as Nancy, and it's probably going to scare the shit out of us. I can't wait. But that's the lore, that's the background, and a tease at the abilities for Danny and Nancy. Again, coming November 28th, a week from today. They are $10 each. Don't forget that. They are $10 each, but the map is free. Now, $10 each is tough. I'm still not behind that price tag. I think it's too much per character. I actually not a big fan of charging for characters in general, especially when they don't have an in-game currency in place yet where you could get them for free. In a game like this where, one, you cannot duplicate characters, so one character per lobby, that makes it where you pay $10 for these characters, there's no guarantee you're going to be able to play them. That's going to create a terrible lobby dodging experience, at least for the first week that these characters come out. It's going to be brutal. I'm not looking forward to that experience of just constant lobby dodging. But also there is that pay to win element, right? The abilities that seem very good, on paper they sound very good. You pay to win. Pay to win. $10, hey, you can have that really cool, unique ability. And that just makes me nervous a little bit. I'm not a big fan of that. I was hoping they would retract that price tag a little bit, or at least drop it down to $5 each, something like that. But I also understand you got to make money. And I also understand that it costs a lot of money to add new characters, probably more than you even realize. We're talking like 6 digits probably per character to add. And even more so when you include the mocap and VO of very talented people. So yeah, I get it. You got to make the money back somehow, right? But I would rather it be higher prices and cosmetics and whatnot, executions, things like that. But despite all that, despite the kind of obnoxious price tag on these characters, I am excited. They look great. They look cool. I can't wait to play as them, and I definitely can't wait to play on Nancy's house map. That's the part that excites me the most, and I can't wait to dive into that. Week from today, baby. Week from today. But that's my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. But that's going to wrap this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. And of course, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.